Hi, my name is Hannah Raymer, for those of you guys don't know me. And today I'll be talking about the year 2000 because that's the year I was born in. I was born December 27th, 2000. A little fun fact is that 2000 is actually the beginning of the 21st century, which is kind of cool to me because it's like I was born at the beginning of like a clean slate for everybody. It's kind of just like a reset button in my opinion. We just all get to kind of start fresh in the new century. Also, I'm actually part of the Generation Z generation, not millennial, which is a really common misconception among like the older class or whatever. A lot of people think that like when we do something wrong or something that they don't agree with, they'll be like, you guys are such millennials, but actually we're not. We're Gen Zs. And even some millennials will tell us like, wow, you're such a millennial, but you're a millennial, I'm a Gen Z. It's just kind of a funny fact. The millennials actually ended in 96, so they started in 97, so anyone from 97 on, as of right now, is considered a Generation Z. But I was actually really happy to get to research this because I really didn't know anything about the year I was born. Like in 2000 there was an election. It was a really big election year, and that's a very historic election year, and that's something I would have never known about if I didn't get to if I didn't have the chance to do this speech and actually get to research those things. Some popular movies actually that were filmed and released in 2000 were Dinosaur, which I actually grew up watching with my brother and my sister. It's a really good kids movie. Mission Impossible 2, and one of the remakes of How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Gas at the time was $1.51, which is crazy to me because, you know, gas now is anywhere from $2 to $4. $2 if we're lucky, especially with everything going on right now. But there have been summers when I've had to pay $4 for gas, when I was born, people were paying $1.50 and less. That's just a mind-boggling concept to me. Some popular artists were Outkast, Eminem, Coldplay, Radiohead, and U2. And Eminem and Coldplay are still relatively popular now, so it's kind of interesting how they were able to live stand 20 years of music. Also, like I said, it was an election year, so George W. Bush, the Texas governor at the time, ended up winning the primaries for the Republican Party. And our current U.S. president, Al Gore, won the primaries for the Democrats. Also, that same year in 2000, tobacco was considered a non-addictive drug. The Supreme Court ruled that the government didn't have enough authority to rule it as an addictive drug, which was a big deal because before Clinton had an anti-smoking act to help curb the teen drinking because it was a really big deal back then. And this ruling completely threw out that act, and now cigarettes can be sold anywhere and could be on ads anywhere, but the act actually got rid of them being sold in vending machines and in certain ads where young audiences were more drawn to. Also, some really fun things was that unemployment rate was at a 3.8%, which was the lowest it had ever been since 1969. The labor force participation was at 67.4%, which was a historic high. It had never been that high ever. The 2000 census declared that there was 281,421,906 residents in the United States, which is a really big deal. And also, Vermont actually legalized civil unions. A civil union is kind of the same thing as a same-sex marriage now, but back then it was called civil union. And this was a really big deal because Vermont was the first state to give full rights to same-sex marriages. It was a really, really, really big step in the LGBT community, and it's probably one of the reasons why the LGBT community has the rights they do today, which is absolutely amazing. Some other things is that George W. Bush actually ended up beating Al Gore in the 2000 presidential election, but results weren't revealed until almost a month later because of a big dispute about the votes in Florida. The reason this was a big deal was because George W. Bush's brother was the governor of Florida, and there was some controversy or whether or not there was some issues with the ballots. And they say that Gore would have won the election that year, and he had actually won the popular vote in Florida, but lost the electoral vote, which overall ended up losing him the entire election. Also, another big thing is Hillary Clinton was elected Senate, which made her the first lady to ever be elected into office. And finally, in late 2000, actually December 26th, the Wakefield Massacre occurred, which was something I had never heard of before until I looked it up. But it's actually where a man named Michael McDermott, who was a application support employee for Edgewood Technology, shot and killed 7 of his coworkers, and he used an AK-47, a 12-gauge shotgun, and a .32 caliber pistol. He shot 37 rounds into his victims, shooting everyone in the back of the head, so they had no idea it was even coming. He ended up being found guilty with no possible parole, which was an amazing thing to hear. And throughout his election, he actually argued that he was born without a soul and was born to do this and was sent from God to do this. And later they found out that he had actually been researching fake mental illness in hopes to help him have less jail time when being sent to trial, but it ended up not working. But yeah, that's everything that happened in 2000. I hope you guys enjoyed.